How's it going, everybody? It is time for the Week 4 NFL picks. We are moving on through the season here. Here's my Week 3 picks. I went 9-7 for a total of 25 and 23. So we got back to the positive after a pretty rough second week. But nevertheless, we are moving in the right direction. But yeah, so these were my picks for last week. So we got to go for this week. So here we go, Week 4 picks. Just a little overview here of everything that we got going on. Tonight, Cowboys taking on the Giants. This will be Thursday Night Football. Now, I should be live to stream for this one, depending on the hurricane situation. If you are involved in that, please make sure that you've taken the necessary steps. Might be a little too late if you're hearing this now, though. But make sure that you've taken the necessary steps. Be safe. Don't chance anything. As long as I have power, I should be good. Like I said, I live in Western North Carolina. Not as much worried about the hurricane directly. However, flooding is a potential issue that could lead to potential power outages or internet situations. So I should be live. But if I'm not, then I apologize. But I'm going to try the best I can so that I don't miss anything, because I would love to watch this game because I think it'll be a good one. Even though I do pretty much have the Cowboys winning this one pretty easily, I think it'll be a fun game to watch. So hopefully I'm able to go live for it. But Thursday Night Football, I got the Cowboys beating the Giants. Giants got their first win last week. They did get their first win last week, but I just don't know if they can do this. And the Cowboys kind of need a win. They almost came back against the Ravens, but I think they get this one pretty easily. Great matchup here in the NFC South. We got the Saints and the Falcons. Should be a lot of fun here. The Saints had their first loss last week. Falcons came up just short against the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs, a lot of people think should not have won that game. They think that the Falcons were screwed over. By the way, the Falcons using their throwback logo for this one. They got the red helmets out. Looks pretty good. But this one is in Atlanta. I got to go with the home team here. I do think the Saints could easily win this one. I think this is going to be a very important and key matchup, especially for the race for the NFC South title. And this is going to play big favors later down the road. But I do have to go with the Falcons in this one. Now my team winning last week, the Panthers at home against the 0-3 Bengals. Bengals coming up short with a performance against Washington, which didn't quite go their way. But, I mean, hey, they did the best that they could, but just came up a little bit short. But nevertheless, the Bengals desperate for a win. Panthers at home. I want to pick my Panthers, but I picked against them last week and they won. So let's see if we can keep that trend going, because, a little superstitious there. So shout out Stevie Wonder. But yeah, I'm going to pick the Bengals in that one. Next, and by the way, these are the Sunday early games, these three that we've got here, this being the third, as the Rams at the Bears. Bears struggling on offense. Caleb Williams. I did a short video talking about Caleb Williams' potential. I don't know. People are throwing around the bus word. I'm not saying that. I've seen some people say that, and I'm not saying bust, but I do feel like maybe just maybe, Jaden Daniels, best quarterback in this draft class. And then Caleb Williams. No, I mean, I was big on Jaden Daniels. He was the quarterback that I felt like I liked the most coming out of this draft. But I don't know. Caleb Williams struggling. I know it's early. It's very early, but nevertheless, we'll see how this goes. But I'm going to go with the Rams on the road. Rams look good. They got a huge comeback win against the 49ers. They're 1-2 now, the Rams are. But I think that team's better than their record. Bears also 1-2, and I don't think they're better than their record, but that's just where we're at right now. I got the Rams winning that early game. So moving on here, we have the Vikings taking on the Packers at Lambeau Field. I think that Jordan Love will be back for this one. I mean, he was a game-time decision last week, so I'm assuming that means he's definitely going to be there for this one. I think this will be a great matchup, very underrated in the early game slot. I'm going to go with the Packers here. I like to think that this one could go either way. The Vikings have been dominant so far. I really think the Packers might have the potential to be the best team in the NFC. I don't know. Something's telling me this year that it might be either Green Bay or Detroit. I think that, and out of the NFC North, and the Vikings are actually kind of in that mix. Sam Darnold is playing lights out right now. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what they're putting in the water up there. I don't know what the pregame food is for the Vikings, but they're getting it done. So I'm going to go with Packers get this one just because they're at home. I think that they split this series overall this year, but we'll go Packers here. So Jaguars at the Texans. Jags. Very, very disappointing matchup the other night. And it's really causing quite a bit of questions. Is Doug Peterson going to be the guy for them for the future? Is Trevor Lawrence truly their quarterback? There's a lot of question marks surrounding the Jaguars and everything there. It's a rough situation. They struggled a lot against the Bills. I mean, they were dominated, absolutely dominated on Monday night. It was pretty embarrassing for them. So being on the national stage and losing like that on a Monday night game, I mean, that game was over, it felt like, in the first half. So, and then it just kept getting poured on, and that offense could not get going to save their life. Granted, I think the Bills are contenders this year, but the Jaguars looked really, really bad. And the Texans, on the other hand, I think the Texans are a really good team, and considering they're at home, I think there's a pretty easy pick here. Got to go with the Texans winning that one. Steelers at the Colts. Steelers keep on rolling through here. Undefeated, taking on the Colts in Indianapolis. This is like a huge matchup, especially for my childhood. I'm used to seeing Roethlisberger versus Manning. This was such a great clash of huge teams. Now, this one is in Indianapolis. The offense for the Steelers has looked so much better with Justin Fields, which also adds on to that. Shout out there to the Bears situation, which I said, I don't know, I feel like it was a bad thing to move on from Justin Fields because he looked so good for the Bears last year at times. And even the crowd was chanting, "We want Fields." And then they got Caleb Williams, and he's been struggling, but I know it's early, but I just feel like if you had Justin Fields in that offense with the Bears right now, he'd be cooking. But instead, he's cooking with Pittsburgh. Well, I don't know if Russell Wilson will even get the team back, but they're going to be at Indianapolis. Indianapolis has been struggling lately. That defense is going to be interesting to see, but I got a shocker in this one. I'm going to go with the Colts at home. I think that the Steelers can very easily win this game. I don't know. My gut's telling me something about Anthony Richardson getting it done with that defense. I really think that they can do it. The defense of the Steelers has been elite. They got to lose some, and on the road in Indianapolis, it kind of feels like a trap game to me. I like Shane Steichen. I think that he can navigate that defense. We'll see exactly how this goes, but I don't know. My gut's telling me go with the Colts, so I'm going to go with it. I know it might not be like the head option, but my heart and my gut are going with the Colts, so we're rocking with the Colts. Then, Broncos taking on the Jets. Jets have been looking better since the Week 1 game against the 49ers. They struggled quite a bit in that one, of course, but since then, the offense is coming together. Lazard, I think, is the leading touchdown catcher in the NFL, which is wild to think about. I know the Garrett Wilson fans and the fantasy owners are not really happy about that, but nevertheless, he's been doing it. And Bo Nix, interesting, they did get a win. They did get a win via their defense last week against Tampa Bay. Shout out the Broncos. Broncos country, let's ride. Thank you for beating an NFC South opponent. But I don't think they get it done this week, though. I think the Jets will get this one pretty much. And what is Jet Life Stadium hosting there? So we got a MetLife and a Jet Life game this week. So that'll be interesting to see. 2 games in a few days. But then, and the last game here of the early window on Sunday is the Eagles and the Buccaneers. Now, this is huge. This is a rematch of the playoffs last year. I don't know if the teams are at the same caliber. I feel like both of these teams, I don't know. I feel like both of these teams fell off a little bit. I think the Eagles are on a bit of a decline. I don't know if the Bucs can replicate what they did last year. We'll have to see. Time will tell. But I just feel like both of these teams are trending more downward than where they were last year. And it's not to say anything about the teams directly or the players and stuff like that. I just, not to say that they're bad, it's just that like they had such success last year, even though the Eagles did fall off quite a bit at the end of last year. Now they're trying to get back to that. The roster is good for the Eagles. It's just like how can they do later in the season? But nevertheless, I'm gonna go with the Eagles on the road here. I do feel like it's a better roster. I feel like the Eagles have a better chance of improving this year. I don't know about the Bucks. That'll be something to see. Bucks though, they struggled last week. They struggled against the Broncos big time and got destroyed. So I don't know. More of the same, maybe. I don't know. Eagles on the road. That's what I'm going with. Commanders at the Cardinals. Jaden Daniels coming off the performance of his life, record-setting 91.3% completion percentage, or maybe it's 91.6 for a rookie. He was like, 21 for 23. Man is so good. I had someone in my comment sections, they were talking about, he just did that for with a bunch of checkdowns and screens. And I went back and watched every throw because I was like, I don't think he had that many. He had like 6 maybe total out of 21 catches, so a third were like that. But all those other passes, he's slinging it across the field, down the field, left, right, across, in the middle of the field. It was like Jaden Daniels looked so good. And now that just feeds into that where we talked about what is the best rookie quarterback in this draft class. Jaden Daniels looked phenomenal the other night. Another great performing quarterback this year has been Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray at home here with the Cardinals. They are going to be interesting to see. I thought that they could potentially win last week. They came up just a little bit short. So, unfortunate for them, they couldn't pull off the win, but it was against the Lions. Lions, like I said, when I was talking about Green Bay, I think that could be the NFC championship kind of thing there. So, it's not a bad game in general. I do think the Cardinals will bounce back here. I do think the team is more well put together. Even though if the Commanders get a performance decently in the range. Okay, I'm not expecting him to do that every single week. Of course, that's just impossible. Even though he has like an 80% completion percentage this year, Jaden Daniels is doing pretty good. I think that Cardinals get this one, but Commanders, they're a dark horse in this one. And this is the first afternoon game, by the way. These are the 4 o'clocks for Eastern time, 3 o'clock Central, that sort of thing. So, yeah, this is one of the first afternoon games. Then we have the Patriots at the 49ers. 49ers struggling. 1-2. They blew a lead last week against the Rams. Rams looked good. But the 49ers really struggling. We'll see. A lot of injuries. It feels like a trap game here. We'll have to see exactly how this goes. No McCaffrey. And the defense of the Patriots is something that is pretty good, pretty decent. I don't know what the offense can do. Jacoby Brissett kind of looked pretty tough, like bad tough, not good tough. He didn't look good last week. He's been kind of struggling, downward trends. I don't know. Maybe they get Drake May in there. It might be a good idea to put Drake May in, see what he can do. I mean, that's a rookie slinging around. He's set behind a little bit. Maybe it's time to give him a little bit of time, even though he's not looked incredible. Is it Milton, the other quarterback, though? I think we talked about this in the preseason. I feel like he would have been the better option to start, in my opinion. I think he adds more to the team because his mobility. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't know. What do you guys think? Who do you think should be starting? Go to the comment section and let me know. But I got to go with the 49ers winning this one at home. Next up, Kansas City at Los Angeles Chargers. So I don't feel good about the Chiefs this year. I feel like the Chiefs are not that good. I feel like they are such a overrated team right now. I think that they have all these buzz and they're getting these wins, but it's like none of them felt dominant. I mean, and there's a little bit of controversy with every single win that they've had. Or maybe, even if it's not controversy, a call has directly affected them winning. And now, I'm not saying, to the Chiefs fans, I'm not saying that, and I think that they could agree with this, I'm not saying that, these are necessarily always bad calls that are against them, but it's like they needed these calls in order to win, or to put them in a winning position. I'm not saying, whether these are valid penalties or not. I'm just saying that, like, they're struggling to win games without just their play, which I also understand. Like, yeah, there's different factors and stuff like that, but I mean, think about it. With the Falcons, like the game against, and I know, but it's like every game is coming down to the end. They haven't had that dominant performance. Maybe they get it this week. I do have them winning, but they haven't had that dominant performance, in my opinion, because the game against the Falcons, a lot of people said that there was the pass interference that should have been called that was on Pitts, and they didn't call that one. The week before that, you had the game against the Bengals where a Jamar Chase penalty set them up in good position to where they can kick the game-winning field goal. Week before that, we literally have such a minuscule centimeters of distance there of Isaiah Likely getting the touchdown. The Chiefs are barely winning games right now, and I don't know. Sometimes that's how lucky can you get, and that does matter. There is luck. I mean, every week anybody can win, but they're barely pulling out these games. And I mean, hey, a win's a win, but like until we get that dominant performance against a good team, then that's what we'll have to see. Because like I have more faith in like the Bills right now than I do than the Chiefs. Just to be honest with you, I have a lot more faith in the Bills than I do the Chiefs, and it's just kind of wild. I mean, that's just how I feel. No, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. So the last of the Sunday afternoon games, we got the Browns at the Raiders. Browns looking to build some sustained success. Deshaun Watson is not it. He is not it. Deshaun Watson has been struggling. He has not been the quarterback that they wanted, that they were sold for. The Texans version of Deshaun Watson is just not the case for them. The Browns losing the Giants. They gave them the first win. That is very devastating to the Browns fans. I follow a few Browns fans and stuff like that, and I've seen them on like social media and such, and they are not happy. They're not happy with the play of Deshaun Watson. A lot of people not excited about it, especially like, and I can relate to this as a Panthers fan, when you see former quarterbacks of you going the ball out elsewhere, like Baker Mayfield. That's one me as a Panthers fan can relate with the Browns fans. We're seeing how good he's doing in Tampa Bay, and we're like, man, this is rough. I mean, it's just frustrating to see. So I don't know what the future with the Browns is going to hold, but it does look kind of frustrating for them. With the Raiders, coming off a loss against my Panthers, they got dominated. Apparently, listening to their coach talk about things too, he said that a lot of the players made some business decisions, which is not something you ever want to hear, meaning that they pretty much said that players were doing stuff because they wanted to make sure that they are good and can get paid, and they've worried about their health more than winning a game. And so he's kind of frustrated with that. He's even questioning their character and their he's going after their manhood and everything. I mean, he's like questioning whether they have the culture. So I don't know. The Raiders, I don't know. They've been tested this week. I feel like the Browns too. I don't know. The Raiders, the way that he's talked about them, when you question a team's manhood and like, that's like, do you really think you're something? I got to go with that team because number one, they're back at home. Their home game was a loss, their opener. And then you get questioned like that, and that's that situation. And also, I'm not a fan of Deshaun Watson. I've said this many times. I do not like Deshaun Watson. I think he's a terrible person, and karma is what it is, and you're not performing well. So that's good. Honestly, I don't think he should be in the league. So I got to go with the Raiders in this one. I think the Raiders get the win. Bills at the Ravens. This is an 0-3 versus a 3-0. Wild, right? Absolutely wild. I would not have thought that 1-2. 1-2. The Ravens are not 0-3 anymore. They're 1-2. My apologies. I forgot they won against the Cowboys. Which is wild, though, that this was almost a 3-0 versus 0-3 matchup if the Cowboys would have came back, because the Ravens are not that bad. I feel like they've been the Week 1 loss to the Chiefs, close. The Week 2 loss against the Raiders, where they blew that lead. That was a mistake for sure. And then last week, getting the win against the Cowboys, where they almost blew that lead. But so they've got a lot to prove, and they're at home in this one. Bills, though, coming off a dominant performance against the Jaguars. Bills could very easily win this one. I don't know. This one's tough. I feel like the Bills could win this one. However, I'm going to go with the Ravens because I feel like the Ravens are desperate. If the Ravens need to prove to themselves that they can win, and against the Bills, a very quality opponent, I think this would set up quite a bit of interesting storylines to go forward for the playoffs this year because I'm interested in seeing both of these teams. I think this could be an AFC South matchup for the AFC Championship matchup for the championship. You know, this could be the AFC Championship. So we'll see exactly how these teams play. We'll be live for this game, by the way, Sunday night. Bills versus the Ravens will be live for that one. But I'm going to go with the Ravens getting the win there. Being at home, they got to do it. Then we got the 2 games on Monday night, staggered starting, about 45 minutes difference. So the first game here between the Titans and the Dolphins starts about 7:30. Titans, not looking great. Not looking great per se. The defense has not been bad. The defense has not been bad for the Titans. The offense is kind of meh. And to be honest with you, the Dolphins have been struggling as well. They're on their third quarterback this past week. Skylar Thompson got kind of hurt. They have good players. Tyreek Hill's not been really a factor this year. I know people that drafted him in fantasy are very upset and disappointed with how his season's going. But the Titans, man, I don't know how I feel. But I'm going with the Titans this week. I know the Dolphins at home. I just don't trust the Dolphins' quarterback situation at all. I think there's some good weapons and aspects of the game to the Titans. I mean, having Tony Pollard in the backfield is pretty good. Also, just Will Levis is not too bad. He's made some mistakes and lost some games for them this year. We'll see if they can sustain some kind of win or anything, but oh well. And the Dolphins, like I said, they've struggled overall. After they've lost Tua, it's really created a lot of problems for them. So you can't judge them too much there. I don't know what the future is with that, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Titans on the road here. But we'll be live during this one too. Both of these games are gonna be live, staggered start times, but we'll be watching and doing stuff. So, and then the Seahawks at the Lions. This is a great matchup. This is I remember last year when these two teams played, it came right down to the end. It might have went to overtime. I can't recall exactly, but it went right down to the end. And I remember because the Lions had won in Kansas City week 1, and everybody was like, oh, heck yeah, this team's going to be so good. And then they immediately turned around and lost to the Seahawks. Seahawks were like so hyped about that, which was it was really interesting to see because like Seahawks, a little bit of a sleeper team. Geno Smith is pretty good too. Can ball out at times, but I do think the Lions get the win this one. They're at home. They've got too many weapons, in my opinion. There's too much good aspects of this team for me not to pick them. I really like the Lions this year. I like them more this year than I did last year, even though I liked them quite a bit last year. So I've got to go with the Lions there. Getting the win at home against the Seahawks. But the Seahawks, I think they'll make this a close game. I think it'll be fun. I feel like, especially of the Monday night games, it's definitely the more entertaining and more intriguing one to watch. But we'll have to see how it goes. Nevertheless, we'll be live for it. So quick run through here of all the games. I've got the Cowboys over the Giants. I got the Falcons at home over the Saints. Bengals on the road at the Panthers getting the win. I got the Rams on the road over the Bears. Packers at home over the Vikings. Texans at home over the Jags. Colts at home over the Steelers. Jets at home over the Broncos. Eagles on the road over the Bucks. Cardinals at home over the Commanders. 49ers at home over the Patriots. Chiefs on the road over the Chargers. Raiders at home over the Browns. Ravens at home over the Bills. Titans on the road against the Dolphins, and Lions at home against the Seahawks. And yes, live stream wise, I'm going to be live for the Cowboys versus Giants, which should be tonight. Today is the 26th, so it should be tonight. I should be live for that as long as I have power, and because of the hurricane. As long as that's going on, we'll be good, and we'll be live for the Thursday night game. Sunday night, we'll be live for that one as well. Bills at Ravens, and then Monday night we'll be live for both games as the Titans and the Dolphins, as well as the Seahawks and the Lions. So come hang out. I'll get the reactions and stuff like that uploaded again. I need to start watching the highlights. I'm sorry I slacked off this last week. It's been a hectic week, but I'll try to get those reactions to different highlights and stuff like that going this week, and that way that y'all don't miss anything there, any kind of content. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate y'all. If you've listened this far, please make sure that you have subscribed and leave a thumbs up, like on the video. Would appreciate that as well. Does help out the channel quite a bit. But thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Good luck. Stay safe if you're within the area of the hurricane. But I'll talk to you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys in the live stream in the chat as well. And y'all have a good rest of your day.